Skip, you know Coach Belichick runs everything. Coach Belichick's special is special team. So you know it's kind of like Coach Saban in the defense and DB, Skip. That's what he coaches. And it seems to me is that the Giants have really turned into it. Because you look at their hires, Skip, they went Ben McAdoo, Shermer, Joe Judge. I don't think anybody thought, like, yeah, that's who they should hire. I don't think anybody's looking at like, wow, boy, they really hit it out the park with these. It's like they got it spot on with Coach Coughlin, and then after that, they're just like, whatever. I don't get this, Skip. I don't get Judge. I don't get Matt Rhule, but hey, I mean, and David Tepper. For him just to say he's going to be Chuck Knox. So is he going to draft 10 Hall of Famers? Because does he really understand what Pittsburgh had? Bradshaw's in the Hall of Fame, the center's in the Hall of Fame, the 2 wide receivers, and the running back, Franco.
Well, he's a longtime Pittsburgh fan, so
okay,
yes, he does.
Okay,
yeah.
So well, good luck with that. Because right now you might have 1 Hall of Famer on your roster, and that might be the linebacker, Luke Kuechly. So you got to get about 8 more. Because this is his first hire as an owner, Skip, I believe he gave too many years, and I believe he gave too much money. But hey, if it's only that if it's not your guy, and you have to get. And Skip, then he paid $6 million to buy out. He had to buy the guy out. So the $60 million on top of the $6 million that you paid as the buyout, and the incentives can be pushing to annual $10 million a year. Man, that's a lot of bread. But I hope he got it right. He said he's done his homework. He gave Ron Rivera a set number of wins that he wanted. Rivera didn't reach it. He fired him knowing that he was going to move on. So he started the process early. Hopefully he got everything he wanted. But I'm shocked at this Judge hire in New York, Skip. I am shocked.
I'm even more shocked by Matt Rhule. And to your point about the new owner, Tepper, they hit it off personally to the point that one of Tepper's quotes yesterday was that we're a lot alike. He, meaning Matt Rhule, dresses like you know what and sweats all over himself just like me. That's how I am. I dress like you know what, and I sweat all over myself.
But the difference is...
And so they connected on that level. Sometimes that's what happens in these jobs, right?
I don't know if I'm going to hire a guy because he sweats. I don't know, unless he's a personal trainer or something, you can get me sweating. But
okay, I've been telling you for 2 weeks, I don't get Matt Rhule. It seemed like a runaway media creation of a story. But I'm going to remind you, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, the Giants were poised to hire Matt Rhule until he, at the last second, said, I'm not even going to come talk to you. They were going to hire him. I don't know if they had phone conversations, but it sounded like he was their #1 target and that they panicked. These are the New York Football Giants, cornerstone. They panicked and said, okay, we'll take the special teams / wide receiver coach off the bottom of Belichick's staff.
Right.
What?
Yes.
You will?
Not Josh McDaniels.
No.
Or, well, obviously they weren't going to go with the D coordinator because that's his son, Jared Mayo, because they're obviously too young. But you did... Him?
Him?
Joe... I don't get it, like I said.
If they had hired Aaron Judge to coach them, they'd have a better chance, right?
Maybe you're right.
It was a New York thing I couldn't figure out.
Come on. Seriously?
Yes.
I have no idea. They're making Mike McCarthy look like Vince Lombardi.
And Skip, the thing is with Matt Rhule, why would I interview? What's the likelihood the Giants are going to be able to match as far as years and money?
Well, not after that.
Right, so ain't no sense. I ain't going to waste your time, get on the plane and go somewhere.
So I'm going to say this again. I remain a huge fan of Urban Meyer. I know he works for our network, but that's not why I'm a huge fan of his. He won hugely at Utah, at Florida, and at Ohio State. He won national championships.
Right.
He's a guy, big guy. You
Right.
know, he's that guy.
Right.
So if you hire Urban Meyer, it's a little high risk, but it's high reward because I would bet my money that Urban Meyer could win big in pro football.
Right. And Urban won, Skip, he won in 2 of the 2 top 5 power conferences in all of football.
Right.
The SEC and the Big Ten.
He did, and he's coached in the biggest games in college football and won the biggest games in college football.
Correct.
I give Matt Rhule turning around Temple, but he did it in relative obscurity.
Right.
Nobody was tracking Matt Rhule at Temple. Nobody really cared on the national scene, right?
No.
Okay, so then he goes to Baylor, and he takes over a scandal-racked program.
Right.
But listen, I have covered the Big 12 and the Southwest Conference for years and years, and I know it. Baylor can recruit.
Yes.
It's right in the heart of Texas. And trust me, going back to Mike Singletary, they have been an NFL pipeline at Baylor in Waco, Texas. Look at the athletes they had on their team this year. They're loaded with kids.
Again, wide receivers.
I watch them because they have 2 wide receivers who are going to play on Sunday. And the point is that, yeah, you can turn it around quickly because it was really great a couple of years before you got there.
Right.
They were a powerhouse.
Right.
So the cupboard wasn't bare.
Right.
Don't tell me it was bare. It was scandal-racked.
Right.
We know about all that.
Right.
And it cost the previous coach his job, as it well should have.
Correct.
Okay? But then Matt Rhule winds up in the biggest game of this year, which I'm going to watch because I'm a University of Oklahoma fan. He's got a home game against Oklahoma with a 31-10 halftime lead, and they blow it, and they lose at home. It's impossible, the loss that they took. What does Dave Tepper think of that?
Well, he reminds him of himself. He dressed like you know what, and he sweats a lot.
Okay, so do you like that adversity that he fought through? Well, then he got another shot at Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game, and I know it went to overtime, but he lost again. And then did he go shock Georgia in the Sugar Bowl? Nope, he did not. Okay, so what did you do exactly to deserve runaway acclaim as the hottest? He was the hottest candidate on the market. Help me out.
Skip, I can't help you out. It's hard for me to imagine that the Giants were so enamored and blown away with his interview as opposed to Chris Richard. It's hard it's hard for me to imagine that, Skip.
No way.
He's a special teams coach that added wide receiver to his responsibilities this year. And
then what happened?
What? And Matt, Skip, like I said, at least Skip, David Tepper says, well, the guy has been a head coach. He has overseen an operation day to day. Now, it's not the NFL. The NFL is a totally different ball game. But he has been a head coach. But a guy that has no head coaching experience, no coordinator experience, and he gets that job. I mean, you talk about the Giants and the Packers and the Bears. You talk about cornerstone franchise that they're supposed to get like Jerry says, we get whoever we want. The Giants is a franchise that should be able to get whomever they want.
Yeah. Well, they're going to get Jason Garrett as the coordinator, maybe?
Nah, if I'm just nah. You think I'm gonna let that guy be? You think I'm gonna let that guy be my boss? Nah.
I read a report that was only true if it was for the head coaching job, and it wasn't actually for the leader position.
Okay, so they just hired the equivalent of Daniel Jones as their head coach, right? Because Daniel Jones was a bolt out of the blue.
People were shocked that
nobody saw it coming.
Yes.
Was he a little better than I thought he'd be?
Yes.
Yes, I'll give you that. Is he the answer? I'm not so sold on that. But it came completely out of left field, and this came out of right field.
I just, Skip, I don't get it. I don't. But I'm talking about all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to him getting the job or you started hearing him, his name wasn't on the radar. I heard nobody mention
nobody.
Judge. And now all of a sudden he's got the job at the Giants.
Yeah, I assume he had one thing and one thing only going for him. I'm pretty sure Belichick endorsed him.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some conversation between somebody from the Mara family and Belichick.
Well, if that's the case, I'm saying, well, Bill, since you would endorse him, how would you like this job? We give you 10 years and $150 million. Okay, 200.
Well, if Kraft sides with Brady, Belichick might be looking for another job.
But it's too late. It's too late now.
Yep.
They already hired the vacancies. There are no more vacancies.
Wonder if Cleveland is attempting to lure Belichick back to Cleveland.
Coach Belichick's only going back to Cleveland to coach against Cleveland. He's never going back there.
I don't think he'll be going back to that. I used to think Cliff Kingsbury was shocking, but not so much anymore.
Joe Judge is even more shocking than Cliff Kingsbury.
I know. I feel like it's
up there.
It felt like that was a big story, but
let's think for a second. Who's the most, as far as hire, that you can remember and say the last 20 years for a head coaching job? There's got to be number one.
I'd have to comb back through my memory, but it's up there. I mean, I'm telling you, Matt Rhule's up there for me, as was Cliff Kingsbury.
But at least they can
what is this league